November 2022, paper 1, question 5. The graph of the f of x, which is minus x squared plus 4, and the g of x, which is x plus 2, are sketched below. B and C are intercepts of the f of x, and D and A are the y-intercepts of the g of x. The f of x and the g of x intersect at B and at E. So the f of x is this negative parabola and the g of x is the straight line graph. Question number 1 says, what are the coordinates of A? The coordinates of A is our turning point over there. Notice that the turning point is also the y-intercept for the f of x. So let's see if we can answer this question. All right, question number 1 says, what is the value of A? And we said A is both the turning point and the y-intercept, right, for the f of x. So we know that the y-intercept is going to be, if the f of x is, okay, let's do this instead. Take that away. The f of x is negative x squared plus 4. At the y-intercept, x is 0, which means that this falls away. So the y-intercept is going to be at 4. The coordinates for A is going to be x is 0 because at the y-intercept, x is 0 and y is 4. That's the answer for question 1. Y-intercept you get straight from the equation. Question number 2 is asking for the coordinates of D, which is the y-intercept for the g of x. So same thing, the D, which is again the y-intercept, we're going to say the g of x is equal to x plus 2, which means that the y-intercept is equal to 2. So the coordinates of D is going to be x is 0, y is 2. Question 1 and 2 done. Question number 3, what's the length of OA? Now notice that OA is the distance from the origin to point A, right? I can't draw on the white one, so let me resketch it over here. Our graph looks like this. We've got the upside down parabola and we've got a straight line graph going through like that. So we've done A and we've done D and this is O. We are asking the question, what is the distance of this blue line from the origin to A, from here to here? And that distance is going to be how many units do you go up? According to our equation in 1, it is 4 units up from 0 to 4. So question number 3, the answer is OA or AO. AO is equal to 4 units. From the distance of 0 to A, it's 4 units. Question number 4, what are the coordinates of B? Now B and C are the x-intercepts of the graph. In our little sketch, this is B and this is C. So, and this one here is E. The question is, what are the values of B? So let's do this. The f of x is equal to negative x squared plus 4. We want to know the x-intercepts. Another way of writing this is to say y is equal to that, right? At the x-intercept means y equals 0. This is a rule that you must have memorized. Since y is 0, I'm going to rewrite this formula with 0 is equal to negative x squared plus 4. And then I solve for x. So I'm going to say plus x squared on both sides, which means that x squared is equal to 4. So this means that I can now solve for x by square rooting on both sides. And that means that x is equal to plus minus 2. Correct, right? Meaning that C is going to be positive 2 and B is going to be negative 2. The answer is, what's the coordinates of B? B is going to be x is negative 2 and y is 0. Now, please be careful. On these types of questions, you tend to forget the plus minus. Do not forget that it is two values. You have to have two x's because it is x squared and it cuts the line at two parts of x. Question number 5, determine the coordinates of E, which is the point of intersection for the f of x and the g of x. Okay, so what are we going to do? At the point of intersection, f of x is equal to g of x, right? So let's write that down. We're going to say f of x equals g of x. The f of x is negative x squared plus 4, and the g of x is x plus 2. Now, in light of the fact that I have a squared x, I am going to aim to put everything on one side. Okay, so I'm going to move everything over. Let's take everything to the right. So I'm going to say 0 is equal to x squared plus x. 2 minus 4 is minus 2. Now I solve for x, and I'm going to say x, and 2 times 1, right? But I want a positive 1 at the end. So it's positive 2 times negative 1 gives me that. This means that x is equal to negative 2 or x is equal to positive 1. Now, the question is, where is x equal to positive 1? This is going to be point B, and this is going to be point E. I know this because at B, x is negative, and at E, x is positive. So now that I know that E's x is 1, I'm going to take the equation for the g of x, which is x plus 2, and I want to solve for y, which is going to be equal to 1 plus 2. So y is equal to 3. I've got my x value, I've got my y value, so the coordinates for E is going to be x is 1, y is 3, and that's your answer for question number 5, the coordinates of E. Last question, for which values of x will the f of x be less than the g of x? So for this question, I'm going to go back to our sketch, and we're going to say over here, we said this value is 1, right? So the question is, when is it less than? So on this portion here, it's less than or below the g of x in this portion. So everything to the right of E and everything to the left of B. So this means minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, etc. And this means since this is 1, it's 2, 3, 4, etc. So what do we say? We are saying that x needs to be greater than 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, greater than 1. And x needs to be less than negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. If we put this together in one statement, let's attempt that. Let's say if x is in the middle, less than negative 2 and greater than 1. That's one way of writing it. I think we could also do it the other way and say greater than 1 and less than negative 2. Both of them state exactly the same thing. So this is the answer to question number 6. For these values of x, the f of x is less than the g of x. Okay, so that was question 5.1, 5.2 in the next video.